Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to HGC Korea. We potentially have one game left, a maximum of 3 if Ace can pull it around. Not sure if they'll be able to, given the state of the interesting drafts we're seeing from Miracle. Their very good execution of the Protect the Chromie draft, where Gunza is just throwing shots. Would really love to see how much damage he got in that game, and I'm sure when the replay is released, people are going to go and look it up. But, whew.
Yeah, that Chromie was blasting off with all the damage with QW all the time. Gul'dan was threatened by that range.
Yeah.
Because Chromie's range is actually insane. Maybe that's why also they banned Tower of Doom. Like Chromie's pretty strong at all the casting range is insane. Canceling all the channeling, all the bell towers. Oh, not bell towers. Altars, of course. And maybe that's why, but still Chromie just got through. They didn't have anything like an Illidan. Anyone like Nova. Sorry, I said Nova. To dive in and to take out Chromie, because when I play Chromie, that's don't be mad on cast, okay? But we're living in a world where Nova is still banned from Hero League oftentimes. Of course, not in HGC at all. There was actually a match, so I don't want to go all that way, but still.
Sure. I mean, look, the Chromie on this map outranges Gul'dan. She can reveal. You get her quest completed, she can reveal and then hit Gul'dan like over the wall. The wall stays up a lot on this map. You're roaming around, so you have a lot of opportunity to pick off people. You can deny turn-ins with their long range.
Yes, yes.
It was basically saying, like, okay, Gul'dan's got good wave clear, but not if he can't stand anywhere near the wave, because I'm going to hit him every time, especially with the long range dragon damage there, not the sand blast, because
Dragon Breath.
Yeah, dragon breath. Sorry, because oftentimes the sand blast was blocked by not Gunza. Why am I'm like, everything's wrong. Yeah, Nubrak, Gamey. Formerly known as Kill Them All, which is still in the back of my mind every time I see his face, because that was his old ID. Good positioning there, but like just kind of outranging, outzoning the Gul'dan there, I think was part of the play. So how does Ace respond to this? They targeted tanks last game. Judy was able to play Garrosh, which he's still very good at. Didn't suit the comp, so it seemed like really strong at the time, but the draft that they chose. But in game, like Gunza just hit the shots and they got bullied, and there's nothing else to say.
I think it's a little bit weird where Greymane fits in these kind of drafts. Like if Greymane is good on everything, like wave clear is okay, camp is okay, poking somewhat okay. I think he can just do range damage and also melee damage when he goes in. He can also pick up kills by himself, but when he actually does not have the team comp to do so, he does not do anything. He didn't do much in game number 2 at all.
Yeah. So, I mean, he just kind of was outranged, right? He had good, like, sustainable damage in lane, and they were able to poke a lot with cocktails, but there was never an opportunity to really go in and get the kills, except at the end where he tried to get those go for the throat kills, but the damage was already done. And so difficult to dive when you've got two strong frontliners with the Auric and Garrosh. Chromie can time out once she has that talent available. So it gets tough. Now, ready to Battlefield of Eternity for could be the last game of the night here. Hoping not. Hoping Ace can make this a better series for us. But this draft is going to be about the racing of the Immortals, dive, counter dive, things like that we've seen a lot of tonight already. And how it's going to be drafted, I think, is going to be very different from Game 2. Like, Chromie really a non-factor usually on this map. Greymane very strong. Vala picked exclusively on this map in other regions, especially China. We've seen a lot of Vala here.
And also Hanzo, if not banned, of course, both teams will try to take it, as Hanzo's still pretty strong, even with the few nerfs, just little damage nerfs coming along the patch. I think Hanzo's still pretty strong after that small nerf. And Sonya, I think it's a lot more effective. Of course, Poison Spear going down, I think that's a big one as a change. And also, there are some small peaks with the numbers here and there. I think after the T-Row rework comes in, can I actually say rework in that way?
Yeah,
I guess some changes.
it's a rework.
There's a rework with the Mega skin that's going to come in. I think that's going to be the best one, of course.
Yeah, Rhaegar already used it, so I'm guessing that even though it's not live, the Tyrael patch, like maybe the skin is in the game. Like
they have all the unlocked skins and everything. I think you can actually
probably. At least we know Rhaegar was in there because KCB was using it earlier. Look, we should call it Tyrael rework or rework, but I think that like the biggest change going into the next patches is going to be whether Hanzo's tweaks were enough, because obviously that's like Tyrael is still going to be strong. He's already being used a lot, but like he's going to rise up a little bit, I think, like to where like, Nubrock is now, maybe something like that. And then Hanzo, like if he's actually weaker, then the entire draft changes, and like maybe we get more DPSs in here, and the bans become more interesting. But if the bans or the nerfs are not enough, which I agree with you, I'm not sure if they're enough to like tweak him out. Then it's going to be a different story. Is Hanzo broken? Like I don't know if that's really a question that like we can say with certainty there's an answer to. And it's always interesting when patches like this happen because because I obviously I'm originally a StarCraft commentator. I went through Brood War and StarCraft 2, and in Brood War there were like no patches ever, and in StarCraft 2 the patches are like very, 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 very late,
Yes.
and like they'll live like sometimes feels like you live years. Well, recently it's been different, but like in Wings of Liberty and like Hearthstone, you're like, well, this is the meta for years, and like that's just how it is. So get good or quit, like because that's how it is. So for me, whenever a hero's at the top, when people are screaming imbalance and patch notes are coming out, I usually kind of feel a little bit frustrated because I'm like, well, it's only been out for a little while. Like no one knows what to do yet. But does that mean there's no answer yet? Like I don't think so. But if we just nerf him, then we'll never know what could have been done. Anyways, he is nerfed, so how that affects the meta is yet to be seen. That's why I like that at least it was a small nerf, very small nerf.
Not too much.
I think if Hanzo starts to drop down in priority though, it's going to be not because of these nerfs, but because people found the answer. And we don't know what that answer is yet.
Yeah, one more, and I think the Sonya nerf is going to hit us big
Hey, there you go!
Finally, I'm happy! I saw Uther ban tonight, and that was my goal. Of course, we didn't say anything to the players, of course, but I think that's going to be the way things should be. As if you take first ban and first pick, banning away Uther and just taking whatever's left.
He empowers so many heroes with his armor, with his divine shield. He's anti-dive, he's anti-Genji, which we've seen so far. Today he is 5-0 in HGC Korea. And this will be the first time he's banned in HGC Korea, and the first time Uther's been first banned in a long time.
Long time.
So now Miracle has to respond. This is probably something they weren't really expecting. Something that you and I have observed over watching the course of the entire tournament, studying every team, listening to the other regions. Calder's talked a lot about Uther recently, so for us, it's something that we were hoping a trend shift would occur. It's happened now. It's not something Miracle expected. They're trying to decide if they want to give Greymane or Hanzo. And so
Hanzo
instead,
open on BOE.
So they let Hanzo and Greymane be open so they can choose which one they want. Ace has chosen Greymane over Hanzo once in this series already. It looks like Miracle's banking on that happening again, and they were right. Greymane's chosen above the Hanzo. Genji removed. Interesting to ban the Genji, given that this is a big risk by Miracle, because I think Hanzo's good, and like you're not worried about Genji if they ban the Uther.
It was a risk, but less likely for Ace to take Hanzo compared to all other teams, because they do like Greymane so much in any type of team comp. So I think they just had that locked ASAP, and Miracle knew they were going to get Hanzo. They will also get the Nubrock pair up because Uther is banned out, of course.
Yeah, this is a really good situation for Miracle so far. I feel like the Uther ban is strong if you take Hanzo in this moment, but because Ace decided to go with Greymane, I want to be convinced as to why he was the better choice, because you've now given Hanzo and away to Miracle, you've given Judy his best hero for the meta at the moment, while in games 1 and 2 you were so focused on banning Judy's heroes. Now you've given it to him straight away the first time he gets to play it this series, after you banned it twice, or banned it once and picked it on the second time. So I want to be convinced now, like, why Greymane instead of Hanzo? 9 seconds to go on this one, and it feels like the plan is just to pick a solid tank and give KCB his comfort pick, Rhaegar, which can synergize well, obviously, with most top laners, except Malthael. Does well with the Greymane, does well with Sonya, and obviously potentially Dahaka. But It's a comfort pick at this point for KCB.
Yeah, and Rhaegar is a solid pick. It's okay at any time. But sometimes as the game progresses and different battlegrounds, you really need to change your pick sometimes. Seems like that's not happening at the moment. Maybe he just prefers Rhaegar as a top tier, as every player, every support player from the team would have different preferences on each hero, it seems like. But Rhaegar seems to be the one to go for KCB all the time, even though he has not really been hitting the Ancestrals 100%.
The reason why there's no ban here for Miracle is because Miracle doesn't know what Ace is planning to do. It will either run a second DPS or run something that empowers the second, empowers Greymane to be the solo DPS, like a Tyrael, for example, or a second support. And because they don't know, they narrow down and think about what second DPS they would not pick that Ace is likely to pick. And the two options of DPS really are Li Ming and Tychus. Tychus is the better pick for Miracle, so they banned the Li Ming, leaving the Tychus open. Now Ace might see through this and look to ban the Tychus now. Their strategy all night long in this series has been to ban Judy's hero pool. He's already locked a hero in now, so to identify the Tychus here I think would be solid. Alternatively, you look to potentially ban a solo laner, but the problem is, because Miracle gets next pick, if you ban a solo laner, they take the strong matchup against what solo laners left in like the circle of Sonya and Malthael and Dehaka.
Okay, they're going for the support because there are a lot more other options. I think for Miracle to choose either Tychus, they can even bring Jaina back to the game, I think. So they're just gonna go with the support and ban out Lucio here, as I think Miracle. I don't think Miracle was thinking about Lucio too much.
This is actually the most support choked a team has been in Korea this season, and we're gonna have to see an off meta support now. This might mean a Stukov pick potentially here for Miracle if they can make the argument for it. There's no argument for other supports right now, like Ariel, Karzi, and supports that were strong in the past. And Hanzo with double support is not really viable at the moment, so you can't try to run two weaker supports. Actually, thinking about it a little bit more, the Lucio ban is quite strong. It's maybe what they were planning all along, to have a solid draft and then force Miracle into a weird position in terms of support. It's like, who am I missing here? I'm looking through all the games we have played, and it has been all games have basically been these supports: the Lucio, the Uther, the Rhaegar. Stukov is what they choose.
Yes, I thought Stukov was much better of a choice to ban out. Lucio is okay, but they can have the sustain with their picks already. Of course, that sound barrier is always a big tool, oftentimes banned out. But the reason why Lucio has a pretty bad win rate right now in Korea, because it's shifting away. They can just back up for the sound barrier or even trap Lucio with a cocoon. Of course, this time they can't with the ETC. But if you can lock down that Lucio with a power slide or any kind of CC with the damage, that was also possible. They're just gonna ban it out, as Lucio was still one of the hardest one to deal against in the open division. I think they're still kind of used to it, adjusting a little bit with the Uther because Uther is way too powerful. Slowly adjusting to the meta.
Okay, it's gonna be the first Abathur pick. Makes it through. It empowers the Greymane. It's a pseudo second support here. We'll give them global soak, and we'll give them total vision control and rotation control using his mines on this map. Very powerful pick for the map. We were wondering what the X factor of this draft was going to be, because it looked at the beginning like it was as standard as you could ever ask for. But we're wondering what will be the second DPS. Because Tychus was taken away from them and Li Ming was banned, it was tough to make the choice to take a second DPS. So they chose to empower it with Abathur as pseudo support, not going all in with something like a Tassadar, but giving this global control of a hero that has a quite high involvement rate from his bans alone this season. I think he's 1-0 in terms of picks. Malthael is going to face off against the last choice here for Miracle. And
why not Tyrael?
I think Tyrael is, if they're willing to run Tyrael as a solo laner, I think the best choice. He will suffer in the matchup against Malthael, but he will offer protection in team fights. They're willing to lose the matchup and take Sonya instead, though. Tough to gank on this map when you're losing this matchup, so that lane is going to be a pain for H82 to play through.
Even with the Sonya, I think it's going to be harder because of that Abathur. We'll be pressuring even harder on that lane, but I thought Tyrael could have been an awfully good protection for Tychus and also Hanzo. But they're going for more damage with Sonya diving in, as they will not really have the potential. I think it does not. The entire draft of Miracle tonight, it really does not synergize with each other.
Yeah.
100%.
It just feels like strong picks put together, like a collage or something like that. But they made it work in game number 2, so I don't want to question them ever again, at least not for tonight. Against a stronger team, we can point fingers, but against this team, they made a Leoric, Chromie, Garrosh, Cassia, Uther comp work, and they destroyed them. So I don't want to point fingers at compositions just yet, but if we look at this game kind of like in a vacuum, it looks like, okay, this is a little bit weird. Like, this is not the best map for Stukov either, but he was probably the best support in terms of tier available. Like, I feel like Miracle is just like a tier list right now when I look at it. Like, yeah, like we need a second DPS, like we banned Li Ming, so we got the best DPS for the job. Doesn't really synergize with the Hanzo, but you can burn through the Anubarak. It's like, Sonya's like best top laner available given the scenario, even though they have Malthael. Like, Stukov, they banned all the healers, but he's like the best healer that's left. Like, we'll pick that one. Hanzo, we first picked him because he's like the best DPS. Like, Noob's the best tank. Whereas Ace is trying to have a theme with their draft a little bit here at least, and has been the case all night. With the exception of Miracle's, you know, weird Chromie pick in game 2. Game 1 was very much the same. See how this one pans out, but as you can see already, Abathur is pressuring the top lane. Sonya is going to have such a bad time. Judy can attempt to gank, and knows where Judy is right now. He's not actually threatening the gank, but Rush can't know that because he's hidden. Well, he shows himself now, but anyways, he is heading up now. This should be super obvious, and this is going to be an opportunity where Ace, if they think that Judy is actually gone, they can pressure harder. They don't believe it. And the thing is, as long as Rush doesn't overextend in the lane, like, they should actually be okay kind of no matter what. In that top matchup, because there's nothing that Judy can do to really mess up. He can pretend like he's going to go up there, and the game he's like, are you pretending? He's like, I knew you were pretending. But this,
Ooh, the
that
silence.
That was well executed, well punished by Miracle. That was painful.
I think Gamey should have realized that Judy was there the entire time. He was just walking into a death trap.
Yo, Judy was really trying to force the issue. Like, he was like, notice me, please. Like, am I here? Am I not? Like, please feel pressured by me. And maybe finally, at the end, he was.
Maybe they were expecting a rotation up top because Rush was winning the lane with Avatar had so much. They need to relieve the pressure from H82. Maybe that was the bait in their mindset for a second, and the reverse psychology there.
So the idea with this situation, your top 2, not to change topics on you too quickly, but I want to talk about this before it actually ends. The idea was to get the camp. Miracle identifies that so quickly with the death that we had on ETC, and pushes way harder, starting to put even some pressure onto Avatar. Look at Judy. They're looking to punish this hard. Like, Ace needs to be careful about staying here while everyone's missing. They have the camp still doing pressure, whereas Miracle is not. As Miracle has not lost their camp. Like, the camp of Ace is already cleared. Risky stuff that Ace is doing right now against an Anubarak comp here. Look at this, diving the fort right now. I don't know about this gaming. He's getting double stunned here, silenced. Ouch. This, like, feels like I saw a car crash happen before it happened.
Final destination.
Yeah.
Right there for Gamey. Using that power slide when he has to use that as an escape. Oh.
Well, this was also bad.
Well, Gunza actually rotated out super late. Actually, may
they get a pick.
Rush out instead.
He
wow.
had the heal on a bio kill switch was enough for the healing. I mean,
well,
they got the kill, but I'm not gonna be like, that was the sick play to like accidentally walk into all of them then get healed. Like, everyone's like calculated. I'm like, I don't know about that. About this, I don't know if that was calculated.
RNG.
You can see how much of a pain Abathur's mines make these rotations for Miracle, though, as the mine build starts to progress here. Already got his level 1, level 4s. But, I mean, remember when we talked about the draft, we said, like, prove to me why the Greymane pick is better than the Hanzo pick. They built a draft around empowering him for team fights and bullying the lane with Sonya. Sorry, with Malthael against Sonya, but right here, can't get better than Hanzo, man.
These kind of power slides are okay. Sonya sustaining actually. Anubarak kind of peeled for H82 in a way, but costing his life. Let's see if that was worth it. If Hanzo can poke.
Yeah, he's still working on this Immortal, though. Like, every auto attack counts, one by one. Surprising he actually didn't go for the Redemption. He went for the Scatter Arrow build on this map. We almost never see in Korea on this map.
Yeah, we saw it like 2-3 times, which is a lot better running down that Immortal when you have a good shot onto your Scatter Arrow every single time. And Sniper has been okay so far.
I mean, in this position, it's really easy to hit your Scatter Arrows. You just bounce them off the wall to the bottom, but Redemption can give you insanely good attack speed if you're able to get in there and actually hit it with autos, which in this case he can't, so
it seemed like Ace was defending that Immortal, but not really actually getting rushed
like,
again.
they just kind of sat there and took the arrows and eventually lost it and didn't send anyone to solo the Immortal at the same time. Had Greymane been hitting the Immortal while this was happening, the Immortal would have much less shields now, and they would still be in a position to slow down Hanzo's advances. They also did not pressure hard with Malthael in the top lane, so like they gained nothing from that. As you say, it looked like they were trying to defend, but the success was not there. Like, that was a failed defense.
Well, with the shield, they also made a late rotation up here. That's gonna cost them a lot of EXP. Not just that they lost so many members. Also, ooh, but Mew.
Like, well, yeah, that's gonna be sort of helpful
As a defensive tool, maybe.
Malthael is here, and Sonya is wreaking havoc on the bot lane. Sure, technically Abathur is there for some body soak and like can help relieve some of the pressure using his hats down here, as you can see. But like, the strong solo lane matchup that they drafted with Malthael is now just, I mean, it's now a Sonya versus Abathur matchup if he's going to go top as a melee hero to deny the Immortal, which means more damage is done to this bot fort. So they essentially have almost guaranteed themselves 2 forts. Without the Mule, they may very well have. It's going to be getting its value here quite substantially at the moment.
With the Siege Camp, I think they will have more than enough to push all in. As Ace, basically, what they're doing is just watching them destroy their structures, Immortal buildings, and everything. As Gamey basically, whenever you try to parcelite in, it costs his life every single time. He should just try to pressure a little bit and then look for the angle from the side. I think he's way too much in front because he's the only one to tank the damage. Abathur, of course, damaging a little bit, but not really a big of a help here.
Okay, Judy under fire here, but with the Impale coming through, I mean, Witcher is so low already. Sniper is just doing what he can. Free damage.
There's a camp of Hanzo's.
Look at the top lane right now. Like, Sonya's just up there just chilling, free, pushing power.
Is going in way too early by himself. That should not be happening, as Miracle Judy also may have overextended, but he's gonna be okay for now.
Super low on armor. The fort is getting healed up, but here's the big story. HGC is getting more consistent experience up here. Ooh, that was not the one, the symbiote. He's getting more experience up here consistently, while getting them 10. The Abathur has to choose between soaking the experience at the top with the symbiote and going bottom to help defend his teammates and help them get picks and stuff like that. Miracle gets 10. I'm going to have the better position on the Immortal. Ace is going to have an annoying push to deal with because Malthael just went to clear top, but Miracle's already matched the camp time. In fact, they've beaten it. And Ace is trying to defend, but they don't have dive heroes. And look at this. I mean, they don't have 10. What can they hope to accomplish here? Oh, Sniper's positioning is horrible, though. That's an opportunity to punish. That's going to be a kill. That's a positional mistake. Well, things are now suddenly different.
Well, cast a curse. Nicely done, Wolf.
They're looking for a second pick here on the Jaehyun, getting 10. We see a Tormented Souls. Not going to be enough to keep him alive. Abathur is going to get the pick there. For some reason I thought actually he died. I was like, what? Abathur actually gets the kick onto Stukov. Tormented Souls not needed to keep him alive. That was a free kill there, so double on the side of Ace due to Sniper's positioning mistake. They can potentially win this Immortal now. It's not guaranteed, but
may not be enough because Miracle still got the Hanzo.
That's true. The mines don't really help zone them out here. God, Sniper's arrows are so good. His scatter arrows
not that
are...
one.
Well, my caster curse continues. I was about to say, well, maybe he was just checking to see if it was in those corridors. All right. They're going to come in. They have the orbs to get some extra health. Huge mosh pit. Where's the interrupt? There isn't one here. Hanzo already used his stun, so again, positional arrows on the side of Miracle giving Ace opportunities. The Immortal is going to push here.
Ooh, KCB dives in deep as he also goes down. Heroes with the clone does some damage, but that's not going to be enough to get kills. Judy is going to be the trade for Ace, but that's not enough as a damage as Hanzo is just doing free damage from the side.
Well, would have, in any other situation, been an amazing fight, which turned the fight, but you have the sustain from Stukov in this fight where he can bio-kill switch, heal everybody in that narrow choke point where he's easily able to spread his heals across. And as a result, Ace just thinks they have more of an edge than they do. And again, with a different support or a different hero picked, like if Stukov died instead of Sonya, maybe they actually still win that fight, but in this particular circumstance, not so much. I think there was a chance for them to win the fight, but the execution was better on the side of Miracle.
So this may actually be a mistake for Ace. Miracle has all 5 members. There's a cocoon for the delay. Are they going to commit?
It's like Miracle's just going to retreat. Heroics traded on both sides. Pretty even trade. Now, Miracle's going to come in here. The clone is ready. Let's see what this gets done. Gamey gets caught, multiple stuns coming through. No silence on him this time, but H82 getting that whirlwind. No Tormented Souls, it's on cooldown. Choke point is basically it's the haven of Stukovs who give the heals. So much sustain coming from H82's whirlwind. Sick angle there coming through from Judy. And with all the damage being done, in lanes throughout this, they might be able to make this a keep play. Like this was severely damaged by the camp they had pushing the entire time. I think they make this a keep play. Not going to be a core play.
Sniper was almost baiting himself for Ace to come in, and H82 just spearing from the side angle.
Yeah, this keeps happening so much to where I'm just like, well, he died that one time, but like maybe this was calculated.
Yeah, maybe this one was calculated, Sniper.
That feel when you use your insta-mount level 13 and then just jump right on top of a mine.
You also move faster, so
yeah,
that's like
the
talent to pick.
Until you get hit by a mine.
Else.
Yeah.
There's nothing else at 13.
Yeah,
that is the only talent.
Whenever I go to 13, the only thing is there's that horse icon. I don't know what's like. What do you mean the only thing? Yeah, of course. All right, Miracle's setting a trap here. I think this is pretty obvious though, because H82 came at a weird angle.
Yeah, also, they're not really starting their camp, but working on the bottom one instead to counter the camp coming from Ace. I think they know the speed and they're having such a lead that they can actually take this slow around there. As this one, it's really hard to go all the way in. It's going to be tough for Miracle to go in and try to do some poking damage. They need to pressure in slowly. So they're gonna work it around after taking this camp. I like these slow choices, just melting down the enemies.
Okay, they got very little damage done, 3k. Now they're gonna play it safe as Miracle approaches this. They have defending immortals, so like what that means is red side immortals on red side, vice versa. So this forces the attacker to actually commit heavily into like melee range here. Great grenade setup from Gunza. Nothing to follow up just yet. Hanzo stuns in this game have not been exceptional. The scatter arrows have, but stuns have not really been the initiation tool. Miracle wins the trade, advances forward. I think the idea for this fight is going to be to use Tormented Souls to win the majority of it. Abathur might even want to start cloning the ETC here to give the extra stuns to allow that extra damage through. It's tough. It's a tough call. Like every clone is good. Comes Gamey.
Nice peeling coming out from Judy. So Sniper lives.
Look at that Tormented Souls damage. It's exactly what they needed. Finally, the cocoon comes down, but unfortunately, he was split off away from everybody else. Gamey goes down. Here's the stun coming through from Hanzo. Great grenade to trap Hero. His clone's going to go down here, and now Rush is under fire. Ancestral connecting yet again. KCB's been hitting those towards the end of this series. Flailing swipes coming out to try to push them away. Witcher will go down, and now feels like the beginning of the end here of this series. G-Clef, a cleanse comes through from KCB. Not going to be enough necessarily to save him here. He will get out. This is going to be a nearly fully shielded immortal. The top camp that we talked about earlier was better timed. He's going to look to damage this this keep. The bottom push cleared the camp of Ace and is going to eventually damage the keep. Ace has one more chance to win a team fight, and they have to win it with flying colors, and even that won't be enough to get them into the game. They're going to have to do that several times. This is one of those desperation setups. We've seen it before. He's hoping for the sick mosh pit. Here we go. Could happen. Just going to be the one interrupted right immediately.
There's a stun coming out, and Cocoon's Greymane, so there is lack of damage. They can just push all in. Martel cannot do the damage alone, which are going towards the kill onto Hanzo, but there's a peel coming up from Judy. GC change and silence even.
This
Hero
clone
comes in way too late.
Yeah, the clone's like dead on arrival essentially. Almost gets the kill onto Jaehyun here, but he survives, uses bio kill switch at the perfect time. You know, if this move from Gamey was at like a BlizzCon quarterfinals, I would scoff at it, and I would make you know, I'd say, well, I cannot believe that they tried to base their series on this. In a round robin of their first series or the first season of HGC ever, I respect the decision to try something risky like that. It almost worked. It didn't work at the end of the day, but Miracle had almost already sealed the win. They certainly have now. They're going to take the series 3-0 with a 17-5 kill ratio in the final game. The theme of Miracle in games 1 and 3 was to pick the top tier heroes available at the time. Gunza making a name for himself on the Chromie in game 2. Shot of him here. It's been interesting, to say the least, in this series. I thought it was going to be more competitive with Ace. They showed us some interesting drafts and very good preparation. I think that's one thing we can say for sure is they prepared to ban Judy's hero pool, and they did very well at it. They changed their tactics going into Game 3 when Judy was being very successful on the Garrosh despite their Warrior Choke attempt. Hands are shaken here on stage. Ace walks home with still no wins on the board tonight, but I think a lot of lessons learned. And what we could say about Miracle, I feel, is that improvements were made, strategies were clearly practiced, but their focus is, as always, as it was with their sister team Black, to focus on the top tier heroes and the standard drafting. Tightening up the late game is something they do need to work on, but we have seen, I think, signs of improvement. However, not massive. Gunza fits the role of crazy moving, and I overall I walk away with a thumbs up on the Miracle draft.
Miracle actually played so much better compared to their match number 1, but up next they're going against Tempest on Sunday, so that's going to be a huge match for them. But can they work this kind of theme, like combining Plan A and Plan B together, try to work that in a way? I don't think that's going to work against Tempest. I think they have to really brush up and try to have one single theme so it works out all the way perfectly. And if they have to burst someone like KSP Black Tempest or Ballistics, I don't think this draft will be as strong as today, for sure.
The draft needs to be more synergized. It feels like they're trying to be greedy and grab every top tier hero that's available, and are sometimes unwilling to let an S tier hero go in order to have 2 A tier heroes that pair well together. And that's the feeling I got, especially in drafts 1 and 3. And 2, it was like, well, that draft was kind of crazy. We didn't know what to expect, and they crushed with it. So can't judge them for that. Showing some flexibility tonight, absolutely. KCB, I feel like, was one of the weak links tonight on the side of Team Ace, but improved his play throughout the series, hit his Ancestrals. He was hitting them so well, he was hitting them too early in the final game. But, yeah, I feel like we're starting to see the color of this team and what its strengths are. And Gamey, the experienced player who was always in the right position to block shots.
I think he was way too pressured, as he was the only tank. If they had something like Blaze on the side of ETT, it's much easier for him to initiate because there are many more CCs. He can also be safe after the power slide. But after that power slide, man, Nubara came in all the time, CCing himself and all the backline with the Impales. It was basically over for ETC all the time.
I mean, Judy played his best hero. He finally got his Anubrak when the Uther ban came through. So, a tough matchup there. But I feel like Gamey did his job well overall. And, like, I think he has a lot of potential. Look at players like Swoy, who became actually a world champion, who used to be a tank player. A lot of people said, like, Swoy was weak, but I think they underestimated him when he was a tank. He became one of the most legendary tank players in the world. And Joker was like right on the cusp of that as well. I feel like a lot of these tank players that never accomplished massive results, but like to me, I feel like in a year's time we'll be talking about. Remember when we thought Gamey wasn't that good? Like he's the type of player that makes me feel that way. I see a lot of potential. But we're early on in the season, G-Cliff.
Yep, only the second weekend, and as you guys all know, there's a result of the second one. As by the way, Joker's not retired; he's taking a break.
Yeah.
As he might this kind of like Crazy Moving. They all Korean men has to go through the military. That's mandatory here, so they're looking for that chance to maybe taking a break and come back to HGC. So Joker may come back. Of course, Crazy Moving actually retired from the scene, so that's just
Officially, yeah.
FYI.
Yeah. So, rip. We didn't really talk about it that much, but that's why he's not on the team anymore because he retired.
Oh.
Gunza played really well on the Chromie today. A very well practiced type of style, with Crazy Moving playing the Chromie in the past, and Gunza actually, I agree with you, I think played better than Crazy Moving, but
Yeah,
like
I do agree on your point.
the team played around it well, so it felt like it was just putting like a new tire on the same car in a way, but maybe the tire was like a little bit cleaner, a little bit nicer, like it was a brand new tire. So that was cool. I'd want to see some more Chromie drafts from this team. I want to see some more Gunza's Junkrat. I want to like test this a little bit further.
Yeah, that was the case last time, but after watching today, he's pretty solid, and I think having him on the new roster, I think it's gonna work out better for the Miracle. Next time, I think they're against. Good luck. No, Tempest, of course, will be the big one. Miracle last time against Blossom, which I thought they had a okay chance, but it was really tough for them.
Yeah. Well, we're going to take a look at some highlights, guys, of this final series. Starting with Game 1's Infernal Shrines, which was, to say at least, an unusual draft of just S-tier heroes coming out from Miracle. We said we didn't really know what the identity was, but all their time, their draft, or their fights were won by good heroics used for Malthael, like the one we just saw. And this is another one of those moments where we're going to see good power slide coming through.
We didn't really mention about Rush too much, but actually Rush, see how he goes in. He's always looking for the chance to actually go for that kill as a Greymane. Look at that. He actually played a great game, even though there was no way of going in by himself.
Yeah, I mean, that fight was over.
He created it by himself alone.
Yeah, he found an angle, which was really impressive.
I think Rush is a very, very good player on the team. Maybe with some more synergy with the front line, I think he can do so much better.
Yeah, the question about Rush is, Rush and Hero together both switch heroes a lot, and they both play DPS and they both play solo laners, so what that means right now, I don't know, but that's something I'm worried about going forward, is that was one of the best Ancestrals actually from KCB. It's not enough to save Witcher, unfortunately. Cool usage of Entomb here, and Guns is just wiping the floor. BOE, sadly, like, just some indecisiveness. I feel like the stress of being down 0-2 in their second series going 0-3, and just not knowing what the plan should be. I think such indecisiveness, lack of experience was really the bane of Ace in this game. HGC2 just healing and sustaining forever. Stukov ended up
insane.
Like Stukov ended up being so good on this map because of how it was played. But before we talk about that any further, we're gonna jump into this interview right away with Sniper. So G-Lef, translate away.
And that is right. That is Hankana on the left, guys, as an interviewer now. And we do have Sniper from Miracle. Of course, I wanted to have a fun interview, but I'm going to be pretty safe. But let's go to BOE. As you lost your members a few times, as maybe you did not have too much sight on the map. Could you explain about the situation?
여기로 가라고 좀 하는 편인데 그러고 조심하라고도 하는 편인데 죽은 정우의 잘못이 아니라 보낸 제 잘못이 아닐까 그런 생각.
Well, I think it's kind of my fault that I sent H82 alone as a split. I think he's talking about the Infernal Shrine game instead, where Martel was cut off a few times, as it was my call to actually make him to go the off lane alone. I think I told him to be careful, but I think it's basically my call and my fault for sending him too far.
포커스를 하는 제가 봤을 땐 각이었는데 그 각에 왜 고치를 넣고 한타를 진행했는지 11렙쯤에 왜 그렇게 진행했는지 말씀해 주실 수 있나요?
Could you explain about the team fight that happened in around level 11? Why you cocooned?
포커스를 봐놓고 자기가 좀 가둬두긴 하더라고.
Why you guys cocooned so late?
딴거 잡자. 이렇게 되는 것 같아요.
We wanted to cocoon a target and then split focus and try to burst damage onto another one instead,
원래 스나이퍼
which
선수가
we
이
don't
정도로 팀을
usually
만드는
make, but
선수들이
sometimes it has to be done on the fly. So I think that's
굉장히 기대가
it just
많이
went
되는 팀인데
just went as the
참고
moment just went on during the team fight.
미라클을 사랑하시는 팬분들한테 한마디 해주실 수 있나요?
And of course, there are lots of fans
지금
rooting for
되게
Miracle. Do you want to
열심히
give a
뭐
fan a
하던 대로
shout
열심히
out?
하고 있긴 한데 상위권들이랑 비비려면 좀 더
We're practicing and doing lots of scrims, but to contest against the higher teams in HGC Korea, I think it still needs we still need to work on very hard in lots of things. So we'll try our best and try to have the better results later on in the season.
Yep. So here are our matches for tomorrow. Two matches that are likely to be very one-sided, but we'll see if Gluck can do anything to Tempest. Tempest's win over KSV Black was very impressive, so it's led many to say that they could be the better team at this moment in time. But remember, let's not forget that they drafted unusually. They had strategies prepared that Black had never seen before. And Gluck looks to me to be the best of the new teams right now, so maybe we have a great series there. And then Black versus Feliz, I feel like that's just going to be a showcasing of Black's adaptations on this new patch, what we'll see from Blaze. I think the second match will teach us a lot about drafting and how to deal with certain situations that we maybe didn't actually learn today.
Yeah, I think tomorrow's match, Tempest against Gluck, and Tempest has another match against Miracle. And Miracle and Gluck is versing them the next Friday, from what I know. And I think how they do against Tempest will get us a good grasp of how they will do when they contest against each other, because right now Gluck may actually be looking for a win against Miracle.
I think so. Like, I mean, based on what I've seen so far, I would predict them to win. But tomorrow, I think, will be like the final judge of that. Like, that's where we're going to know for sure, you know, how well we can predict this team's power level. So tough to say, but I think they have a lot of potential, absolutely. And it's always fun to watch Tempest and KSV Black play. They're two great teams. So that's going to be what we've got tomorrow, guys. Thank you so much for watching today. Watch EU tonight. Maya will be revealed, her kit and all that stuff. So not happening right now, happening after EU. Go check it out, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.